All right, Fred, can you hear me? Let's get your camera on. And
I'm coming in. Camera on.
for people not familiar with Fred, he is leading the spear tip in France,
Hi, Shaun.
investigating the Jean-Luc Brunel Epstein relationship and case. Huge thank you for joining us, Fred.
It's my pleasure. It's always a great pleasure to be on your channel. So thank you very much for the invite. Yeah, great to be here, Shaun.
Got a slight cutting off of the top of your head. I don't know if you could lower your head a little bit.
Let me see what I can do.
Okay. And before you came on, I started to just go over the bullet points from this news that broke overnight about Maxwell. She's now applied for a third bail hearing, and she's offering to renounce not just her British, but her French citizenship, so she cannot seek refuge in either country. She said she would immediately give this up in exchange for her release. And giving up her citizenship with France, which has no extradition treaty with the US, would be expedited. Now, is that even possible?
Well, absolutely. I mean, this is really a third attempt. Let's not forget that she was obviously rejected in December, the last attempt with the judge, Alison Nathan, was really unsuccessful. And there was two reasons behind that, Shaun. It's very important to understand the reason why she was rejected. Number one, because she represents a very high flight risk due to the French nationality. She holds a French passport, and that will be very easy for her to escape to France and then basically fall under the non-extradition policy for any French citizen, which means that she will never stand trial. So that's one aspect. And then the second aspect, Shaun, is that Ghislaine Maxwell has access to a stew of money. She has access to a lot of money, and she also benefits of a very, very high profile network at her fingertips. So she can access to very influential people to help her getting out of this situation. So on the basis of these two major reasons, I think Alison Nathan, the judge, decided to not grant bail. So that's a fair reason. And I believe also many judges would not want to put their name or be the person known as the person that let Ghislaine Maxwell get away. So that's probably one of the major reasons.
All right, so let me just dig a bit deeper into this then. So she's claiming she's going to put all her money and assets into an account supervised by an asset manager who would sign off on any spending. These measures, according to Maxwell's lawyers, are sufficient to address the hypothetical risk of flight and secure Miss Maxwell's presence at trial. And it was Judge Allison previously said, quote, "No combination of conditions would ensure Maxwell attends court." So with the judge saying that no combination of conditions would ensure Maxwell attends court, why is this third application coming into existence? Do you think this could be a case of lawyers just racking up more work and legal fees and just, draining all of the resources out of Maxwell they can possible? Or do you think, perhaps she is clinging on to the pipe dream that there is a slight chance that the judge would accept a new combination of conditions to put this thing through?
Well, I think, Shaun, personally, that this is, a race against time. And I think they're saying that we are sprinting towards July, and they have to basically come up with a third proposal that the judge cannot refuse. So obviously, Bobby Sternheim and the legal team of Ghislaine Maxwell went back to the drawing table. And what they did is basically trying to put everything in one proposal, making sure that the judge is going to be put in a corner and would have no other choice but to grant bail. So what they did is basically come up with a new package. Remember, the first time they come up with 28.5 million bail release package. Now this time over, they're coming up with a $22.5 million package. This is part of the estate that belongs to Ghislaine Maxwell, but also to her, I would say, unidentified husbands. And then what they're going to do is, as you said, is they're going to put this money onto a sort of an escrow account managed by a federal judge and a U.S. attorney from Georgia. And then what she's going to have is access to some expenditures money. I think it's about $450,000, and then $7 million to make sure the lawyers are being paid. So their hope is really, and in the letter they sent on Tuesday to the judge, is really, you can see they're going absolutely full out with all the ammunition that they have. They're trying to say to the judge, we have met all your requirement to grant bail. And in the letter, if you go through, they clearly demonstrate and explain to the judge that since December, they have also accumulated a number of informations and facts that clearly should strengthen the case as well. So it's not only the new package, but it's also all these elements they've put together. So they obviously reminded the judge of the non-prosecution agreement, the NPA.
Fred's internet's coming in and out this evening.
Which Jeffin kind of agreed that. So that's important. And then obviously other aspects of the initial indictment, whereby they're complaining that Ghislaine Maxwell was indicted by a kind of a suburban kind of a panel where she should have been actually been indicted, or the indictment should have gone through a more Manhattan-based panel. And basically what she was saying is the panel that indicted her was mainly made of white people instead of non-Caucasian people, and that affected basically the bail decision. So all that is in the package. They've reinforced that. And then today, I mean, if you read, and I think that's something probably I'd like to read out to you guys, because I think it's quite funny, but this is what Maxwell's lawyers wrote in their letter to the judge. They say, Maxwell has been the victim of vicious slurs, persistent lies, and blatant inaccuracies, and has been depicted as a cartoon character, a villain, in an attempt to turn her into a substitute replacement for Jeffrey Epstein. And then they go on saying that basically, yes, Miss Maxwell is determined and welcomed the opportunity to face her accuser at trial and clear her name. So I sense a little bit of desperation there, and they will try to say anything basically to get her out. The only questions that has not been asked and been proposed, and I really want to get that out, is that what are the guarantees that Ghislaine Maxwell do not possess other passport than French and British and American passport? There's absolutely a lot of possibility. She would have had plenty of time during a runaway before she got arrested. Let's say in the New Hampshire, she had plenty of time to prepare an exit plan. I mean, if you run a business, you're going to have to definitely have some kind of exit strategy. Well, the same goes for Ghislaine Maxwell. If she gets out of jail, she will have, can be sure she will have an exit plan. And that there is no guarantee they can provide that she doesn't have any other citizenship around the world, maybe Israel or other countries as such.
She says 7 million being allocated for the lawyers in this case. Then I think she's just being bled dry, to be honest. I don't think she stands a chance in hell of this third one going through. And the more work the lawyers create for themselves at whatever it is, you know, $2,000 an hour, whatever they're billing her, you know, for them, it's just an absolute feeding trough, and they're in a frenzy. But I guess she deserves that because of what, you know, the horrible things that she's done. So another thing that came out then yesterday was that this supposed account that is going to have all this money in it, collateralizing her from fleeing the country, is going to include the pending sale of her $2 million home in London. So if people didn't see, we filmed at the home in London. The door was open. We did get to film the banister. And this is the first time now it's come to light that that home is getting sold. Any thoughts on that, Fred?
Yeah, absolutely. This is part of the estate that belongs to Ghislaine Maxwell. So obviously she's trying to see that she's open as far as the accounts, as as far as the property is concerned, and she's going to take the money where the money is. So yet again, she's going to put that one in the mix to make sure that she's coming up with a kind of a transparent accountancy, which we all know it was not the case. I mean, there was a lot of shady things about Ghislaine Maxwell accountancy, very questionable, and this is still not clear today. So I think she's just trying to show a bit of good faith, trying to show that the money is going to be stuck somewhere on an account, on an escrow account. Everybody's going to get paid, everybody's going to make money, and she's not going to go anywhere. But as you said, and as I said from day one, is that no judge is going to put a name on something of such magnitude, especially with a public interest in this case. You know, if you're a judge, you don't want to put a name on someone or the possibility that your name is going to be associated with the Ghislaine getaway, you know. So it's not going to happen. I don't see it happening at all. It's just obviously, of course, the lawyers have to make their money, and they're going to try to suck every single penny out of her because she's in a very weak position, and they'll try every trick in the book to do that.
Yeah, and this comes on the back of her filing about how terrible the conditions in the jail are for Ghislaine. She's losing her hair, being woken up. She can't get a good night's sleep. And she's saying that she was abused by a guard. Welcome to jail, Maxwell. Please put in the live chat right now if you think that Maxwell's conditions of detention are too severe, and let us know if she should be being, you know, she should be not in a prison but in a palace.
Welcome to the world of the news.
She's got a whole floor to herself. Oh, that's luxury. She's got access to computers. That's luxury. She has her own shower. Yeah. Oh my goodness, the things that people have to share, and the I won't get into it.
What happened with the fact that she wanted to be put in the gen pop? You know, what happened to that? It's not anymore part of the package anymore, you know. So yeah. I think that she made a lot of people angry in that jail because she's obviously not a standard inmate. You know, she's obviously having all this access, all this own floor, all this attention, you know, and she's still complaining. I don't think she really understands what the other guys, you know, next floor down are going through, you know. So she's again completely detached with reality, you know, and I think she's it's coming soon for her, you know.
I'm just looking at the live chat right now. It's going crazy. Prison is too good for her. She can turn the prison into a palace. She deserves more hard punishment. She's getting a long taste of her own medicine. Poor dear, not even a golden toilet. Well said, Tom. She should be thrown in a South American jail. Yes.
Yeah.
Like
Natalie. She haven't asked. Sorry,
we interviewed Natalie Welch. She was in prison in Venezuela, and as she was arriving at the prison, she's been sentenced to 10 years for smuggling coke. She sees all these men on the roof with guns, and she thought they were the guards. They were the gang members, and the gang members could go into the female side, and when they did, there was like shootings and bodies, and oh my goodness, yes, those South American prisons. If anyone's interested in that, we did publish Natalie's book, Escape from Venezuela's Deadliest Prison, which is on Amazon in all 3 formats. She's only doing complaining to get bail. How does someone who run a paedophile ring get special treatment? I'm losing my hair and not sleeping. It's called menopause, Ghislaine.
That is a good one.
Okay, yeah. So I did do a few videos on the conditions, but rather than just rehash that, then Fred, have you got some news about JLB or this Gerard guy that's come up?
Well, it's been quite interesting, guy. As I said, after we went through this TripAdvisor kind of a discovery, and we kind of put together the data. And I said to the audience that I will provide this information to the law enforcement community. So obviously the first point of contact would have been the OCR VP in charge of the investigation on Jean-Luc Brunel and the French segment of the Epstein inquiry. So I exactly did that. What I did is I contacted the head of the investigation of the OCRVP, the highest ranking officer in charge of the investigation. We had a long conversation over the phone. I've basically detailed all the evidences and all the information that I've gathered via TripAdvisor. I thought and I explained to her that definitely this would be crucial in establishing a timeline and to corroborate that with Epstein flight logs or even other people within the realm of Epstein. So they really received the information. She was very upbeat about it, and she thought that she was a great findings. She actually offered me to meet her straight away the next day, thinking that I was in Paris, which I'm not. So I told her, I said, "Oh, darling, you're gonna have to take a plane, you know." And he said, "No problem. I'll get on the plane tomorrow. My colleague will come and sit down with you. I've had the opportunity to talk about other things that I found about Jean-Luc Brunel and also other case and investigations on pedocriminals that I'm working on." So she was very interested, and I'm still waiting now for a time for the meeting and instruction as far as how they want me to release the data. So I've put the data in many hands just in case, just be prudent about that. But the idea is really now to get this information with them so they can assess it in their own time. And then my next move will be certainly to talk to the FBI and making sure they have access to this data as well.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
And what's going on with this Gerard guy whose name I can't pronounce?
Gerard Marie or
Depardieu?
Depardieu. Depardieu. Shame.
Say it slowly.
Gérard Depardieu.
Gérard Depardieu.
Okay. It sounds better when you say it. Yes. Well, look, Gérard Depardieu, I mean, funny enough, he's actually very well known on the international scene. I mean, he's been an actor for 45 years, so he's a very well-known, anyway, super established actor in France. He's as big as you can get. He's bigger than the world. I mean, he's a charismatic actor. Even in the real life, he's a big dude, extremely loud, very opinionated, and he's been in the media for quite some time because he's very controversial and he likes to speak his mind. So I have nothing wrong with that. And today, whatever we're going to discuss about him, it's not about the actor as such. It's just about the fact that he's like another man. He has his weakness and he has his strength. And again, if he's done something wrong, we need to look into that. And if he has done what he's accused of, then of course, justice needs to take place. So just to take you back, he's 72 years old at the moment, so he's not a young guy, and he's a father of 4 children, and he was in a big argument with the government when the Democrats took power in France with François Hollande, and they raised the tax up to 75-80% after $1 million. So the guy has quite a bit of money after 45 years, and he said, "Look, you're not going to steal my hard work, my hard earned cash money. So I'm going to get out of France and I don't want to hear about this country anymore." He was really upset about it, decided to go to Belgium for a while and eventually approached Russia and Vladimir Putin, which eventually granted him Russian citizenship in 2013. So that's how far he went, So he kind of dropped France, went to live abroad, lived in Russia. He still has a property in Paris. And then what the story was, you might have found in the media and people might have heard of, is that he was actually indicted in December 2020 for rape and sexual assault on a young actress. Now, to better understand, Shaun, the story, we need to go back to summer 2018. Basically, a young actress was going to spend some time at Gérard Depardieu's house in Paris, in the 6th district of Paris. And then during this time, what's going to happen, I mean, this is what she said in her deposition, is that she was kind of ill-handed by Gérard Depardieu. He was basically, she's accusing him of 2 rapes. So we're talking about the 7th of August of 2018, and then another time on the 13th of August 2018. And that's what basically she's accused Gérard Depardieu of. So obviously the police got involved, they questioned Gérard Depardieu, and then the main magistrates kind of looked at what the deposition was about, looked at the information, the evidence, and there was so little that at this moment in time, the magistrate decided to dismiss the case and then just basically throw it out of his desk. So nothing happened. But then this young lady didn't kind of give up on it. And she said, no, this really happened. And what she did, it was quite a clever move, actually. What she did is she brought someone alongside, which constituted himself as what we call a civil party. Now, a civil party is someone that's going to be affected directly or indirectly with the case itself. What it's going to do is going to add strength to the case, and that person's going to have to be considered if there is a judgment, because he's obviously seeking also compensation. And what it does in France with the legal system, it's not automatically, but almost all the time, it triggers the appointment of a new magistrate, a new investigative judge that's going to take over the case and then look again into the accusation and starting to basically open an inquiry, get information, get more evidence. And then what happened is that this went on for quite some time until December 2020, where basically, I think it was on the 19th of December, where Gérard Depardieu was brought back at the police station in Paris. And then at that time, according to the deposition, according to the confrontation, because there was actually a confrontation between him and this young lady that accused him, and there was enough information in this deposition and in this confrontation that gave the courage for the judge to say, look, there's too much things, there's too much evidence, corroboration that we can make. And then the indictments came through. And he was, as I say, indicted for the count of multiple rape, 2 rapes, and a sexual assault. Now, I can add a couple of details if I may.
Fred, we've run out of time on this occasion. So congratulations to that woman for bringing it that far. Could you just want to tell people where they can find you online? The links will be in the description box.
Yeah, for the link, it's quite complex. So please go into the description box. You will find my YouTube channel. I do a lot of videos on Jean-Luc Brunel and so on, and Epstein. And then on the other side, you can find me on Twitter at lafrenchconaction. So if you have any message, you can message me there.
Fantastic. Please go down and support Fred and his important work. And huge thank you for coming on, Fred. It's always a great pleasure.
Thank you very much for having me.
Cheers, my friend. Bye-bye. Bye.
Cheers.
Bye. All right. So